Welcome to the Star Wars Brothers Podcast. I'm Cliff Boyd, and I'm here with John Boyd,
Sabercats huddle up,
and Drew Shepard.
Aneurysm.
Oh man, we've got quite the Star Wars lore to discuss today. But before we do, let's give some updates on how life has been. It's been a long time since we've recorded. Not very long since the last podcast episode posted, okay? But a long time since we recorded. I've been posted those pretty late. I'm going to try to do better about it. And the big hang up was one of them that I posted was I had to do a bunch of editing on that I just didn't feel like doing. So just being lazy, you know. So sorry to all our patrons out there. I know you guys are paying for high quality content and drop the ball. I dropped the grab ball.
On Patreon, yeah.
All of our Patreon patrons. We have zero patrons so far, but I'm sure that'll change if I just start posting the episodes on time. So
I mean, just mentioning grab ball will bring them in. So
I think so. I think the podcast search algorithms will probably pick us up and really start pushing us out to the masses after today's discussion. Drew, what's going on? What's new?
So you'll have to remind me, when was the last time we even recorded?
Oh,
last
year.
Like what had Christmas even happened yet? Like,
Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-mm.
okay.
No.
So there's so much. That's gone on. I was.
It only took us like 3 months to read a 140 page junior novel.
And there's a reason our readers will find out why. Our listeners will find out why. But just highlights. Start with today. I finally finished Final Fantasy 12 today.
Ooh,
never played
cool.
it before. Finished it today.
Yeah.
Definitely not my favorite one. I'm going to say that. But whatever. I finished it, so I can at least I played it now.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, I have a really good friend, goes by the name of Cliff, and this is still video game related. That's why I'm tying it in here. And he got me a Lego Tallneck, John. I don't know if you've ever played the Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn games, but that's one of the machines, one of sort of the iconic symbols of the game. And so 1,200 pieces. And I was thinking, you've given me a lot to do. Like, there's this podcast I'm supposed to be listening to, Tabletop Escapades. I'll give them a plug because no one will ever hear this. But no, I'm just playing. And then doing this Lego, reading this book is like, there's a lot actually going on. But it's all been good. So visited my brother, some family up in Nashville over Christmas break, almost got snowed in, had that big snowstorm come through where it was -2 degrees with a wind chill of -20 something, and it was just crazy, terrible.
Yeah. Crazy.
And we just recently started. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder with this.
That's okay. I was going to mention it, but you can go ahead.
Okay. No, I'll leave it for you.
No, go ahead and say it. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, you're going to talk about Disney, right?
No.
What were you going to talk about?
Oh, we just started playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh,
was that last weekend?
Yeah.
Don't say it, John. Nerd. There it is. And I am. Oh, I don't even remember what I am. I'm a wood elf fighter named Yancey. Yancey Tumblewood or something like that. I don't remember. I forgot to name myself before I showed up, so I just came up with something. But yeah, killed some pirate zombies already, and trying to figure out the mystery of this town or lack thereof. I don't know. I'm just kind of exploring around, figuring out what's going on. Trying to find a way to cheat death and find my destiny. So
really living your role. I like it.
What are you doing, Drew? Tell us a little bit about your D&D character.
So my D&D character is a wizard high elf, and my name is Arion, and I don't remember much else about where we are right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun just casting magic missile. So that's always nice. John, I've never played in my life before. I have pretty much no idea what I'm doing other than the fact that I've heard a podcast and listened to them a few times, and I at least know somewhat what's going on. But when I roll a dice, I still have to say to someone like, all right, help me figure this out. I don't know what this means. Like, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So
it's fun though. It's fun. I mean, we're into video games and RPGs and all that. And it's basically just that, but you're all sitting around a table together. Goes a lot slower, but it's there's a lot more openness to it. You can literally say anything and go anywhere, and whoever's the dungeon master has to react to whatever you decide to do. So nobody's done anything too crazy yet. But I think we're all trying to kind of take it easy really, since it's his first time.
Except for our thief. He seems to want to pickpocket every NPC that there is. So, and I asked him about that later, and he's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to do that.
It's his character.
Yeah. So I'm like, go for it, make it more fun.
Sure. Cool. Is that about it?
Yeah, I mean that's good. There's plenty of other things, but 2 months.
Yeah. Well, our Disney passes are about to end. This is our last full week. So I took a couple days off Thursday and Wednesday, and then Monday will be our last day. And I took Monday off as well. So going to go do some Disney splurges here. And so Drew, if you want to come with me any of those days, you're welcome to. So come with me or come with us. Shauna's going to go at least one of those days, I think, but I'm not sure which. But I'll take the kids. I may take just Luke one day since there's a lot Clara can't ride and that Luke may want to. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Finally got to show him the Star Wars zone. And so that was great. It was just me and Luke, and we went and did the Rise of the Resistance ride, and we did the Millennium Falcon. And we were both pilots and definitely made it only as far as you can go at a minimum. I actually hate that ride. I've decided I hate it. It's awesome, but like I don't think I've ever made it past the soonest point for it to end, because nobody ever really knows what to do. I mean, I'm pretty good at video games, I feel like, but I get in there and I'm just like, what exactly am I supposed to do? One person controls the vertical and the other person controls the back and forth. And then there's some shooters behind you that have some ambiguous random buttons they have to push. And it's not that clear what you're supposed to do and when you're supposed to do it. And then there's engineers in the back that are basically just supposed to push lights when they light up. But you don't want to stare at a wall full of just lights when you have like the viewport of the Millennium Falcon right in front of you. And it's awesome. It's awesome.
I didn't wait an hour and a half to do that. So.
No. So at some point, I guess I won't do it this past cycle. There's a mode you can do where everybody like does a certain thing, and you push a button, or everybody pushes a button or doesn't push their buttons or something. And all of a sudden Chewbacca's voice comes on, and it will basically just do a perfect run for you where none of you control it. It's sort of like a secret code that you enter in at the beginning, but all 6 people have to be like in agreement that that's what you're going to do. So really need to do that someday. But I don't know. You got to get 6 people together that are willing to let Chewbacca take control. But that was fun. We did some blue milk. We basically just did everything in Star Wars. We got the popcorn that's, the first few bites are good, and then it's like, this is kind of gross. It's a blueberry and chili powder popcorn. It's got both flavors. There's a chili powder popcorn and a blueberry popcorn, and they mix them together. It's like red and blue. It's not good. It's not good. But we did have a lot of fun. That's pretty much it for me. I mean, we had a cool Christmas. Actually, related to Galaxy's Edge, Drew, you got me the coasters from the bar that you can go, which I'm sitting in, right? You can't see this on the podcast, but my background on my Zoom is the bar that you can go to.
August Cantina.
Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, it's hard to get reservations for it, but I've been able to snag them a few times when they pop up. Actually, I went really close to the right at the beginning when it was always super busy. I snagged a reservation on the very last day of my passes last time and went by myself. What Drew got me was the coasters, the original set of coasters that they had when they first opened the bar, that they would give out to people. And then he also got me a wooden set of those same coasters. So so that was pretty cool. Anyway, John, what's going on?
Yeah, so I don't have near as cool things. Got a lot of projects going on around the house. We're expanding the chicken run because we're going to add probably 50 chickens this year.
Whoa!
What?
50?
Have y'all seen the price of eggs? Let me just say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna
yeah.
you're gonna start selling them?
Well, we already do.
Okay.
And I mean, we sell as soon as we get them. So
that's awesome. Your kids, I guess your kids are going to be involved. Probably going to make some money from it too.
They do most of the work. It's their chore.
Man, that's
other than
awesome.
like scooping the poop. So they do that, and then they also have to buy the chicken feed. But then when we go on a family vacation, they get whatever they've actually made from the.
So this will all go to benefit them, basically. Still, you think? Will they be able to handle that big of a workload?
Probably not. But we'll definitely help like we do
50
now.
50 chickens. Oh my word!
Right now we've got about 30.
Okay,
and so it's that's the idea this year. We'd like to.
You have 30 and you're getting 50 more, or you're getting a total of 50?
We're thinking maybe 50 more.
80 chickens.
We're toying with the idea. I mean, we're definitely expanding. We'll see how much. They only lay generally for 3 to 4 years, and then they stop. And I guess we
then you eat them.
Well, no, because then they're old tough chickens.
Okay.
And so we'll probably just take care of a bunch of chickens that don't do us any good because they're our pets too. Now, 80 pets is going to be.
How are you going to come up with 80 names?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, we do have. I guess I'll get off on this. Have I told y'all about our how friendly our chickens are?
Yeah, I think so.
And the delivery man.
Oh no, I haven't heard this.
So we had a FedEx guy come, and we caught this on our Ring camera, and he dropped something off on the porch, and one of our chickens jumped up and sat on his shoulder.
Oh, that's cool.
And he wasn't sure what to do. He froze. And he's like, and my son came to the door, and he's like, "There's a chicken on my shoulder." So yeah, it's particularly one that really likes to jump up on our shoulders, and that was the one that got the FedEx person. But anyway, we're going to expand that. I'm still working on my basement office, basement laundry room, putting in a laundry chute in the house from the second floor down to the basement, because that's where the laundry room is going to go. Okay. And then we just took out a wall this week in our kitchen to just expand our kitchen out. So
cool. Are you doing that yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, John,
we've got way too many projects going on. So,
that's way more
handy.
Than either one of our updates, I think, John.
So
maybe just because I didn't know about all that. But.
It's a lot. We had a Devo at our house for the teenagers at church, and one of the elders came, and I know he's real handy with stuff, and so I asked him about that wall, and we went up in my attic and looked at it, and he's like, "Oh no, that wall's fine to go. It's not sporting anything." So that night I started taking it out, and
wow.
So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, very cool.
I mean, that's probably our biggest updates.
So how many eggs per day will that chicken?
It'll depend on the time of the
chickens
year.
Produce. Okay.
Most of them will do about one a day.
Okay. 80 eggs a day. How many dozen is that? That's like 9 dozen. Is that right?
Maybe. But I'll tell you, we have, out of what we've got now, we put a sign.
9 dozen.
We put a sign by
dozen.
the road
6 dozen
a while back. And we had to take it down because we have these regulars that started coming, And so I don't think we'll have any trouble getting rid of that many, especially at the price of eggs right now. And people just like natural.
Oh yeah.
Eggs. They don't like those imprisoned chicken eggs.
Absolutely. Those few documentaries is all it takes to get people to change their behavior. I mean, we do. We go in and we buy stuff that says that we look for the cartons that claim they treat their chickens well, whether they really chickens. Do, who knows? But it's the pasture raised, I think, is the main thing that Shauna looks for. Who knows? That might mean they let them out and do a pasture once every month or something. But I'm sure there's some sort of regulation for them to be able to claim that, hopefully. But anyway, we care about that. We'd much rather buy them from an individual. We probably could find that around here. But Shauna has talked about us doing that. So
most charge quite a bit more than we do. Really? I'd like to up the price, but Jessica feels bad upping the price on because it's a bunch of neighbors and stuff, that come get them. And I'm like, man, we could make a killing.
Yeah. So, yeah. Cool. Do you charge more or less than the grocery store?
Less.
Wow. Okay. You'd think you'd be able to charge more, right?
Oh, we could, but we charge less.
Okay. You could at least equal the grocery store.
I agree.
But the conscience says no. We're being nice to our neighbors.
I guess
it's good to be nice to your neighbors too. I mean, if it's mostly neighbors that are buying it, that's good for the relationship.
It's mostly neighbors, and then we've had these regulars that we kind of get to know. And we're at a lake area,
yeah, sure,
a lot of seasonal traffic, and so we've got these seasonal people.
Okay,
that, and then they're like our friends, even though we only talk about eggs. But it feels bad to raise the price on them, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. We drawn up the list of to-dos for what we're going to accomplish when you finally come down to visit us is lengthening. Shauna's wanting to do chickens.
Oh yeah,
so that's one. Hopefully, our deck will be done by the time you get here. We're about to start on that actually.
Oh, cool.
Just on the verge of doing our deck. I should talk about that. It's going to be huge, massive deck. I forget the exact dimensions, but we got 3 different sections that stretch back. There's 20-foot boards. There's 16-foot board, two sections of 16-foot boards. So whatever that is, 32 plus 20 is what, 52, right? So 52 feet across the back of our house will be the length. Now a big sunroom comes up in the middle of it, but it's going to come out from the house on the at the longest point, like 72 feet or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So huge deck. It'll be a huge deck. Getting Trex boards and should be really nice once it's done.
I will say,
I don't want you to do the deck. The reason I mentioned that is because once the deck is done, we want some cats. Well, I want some cats. Me and my kids want cats. So we got to figure out how to get mom on board. But that's 2. And then the third thing is that I need you to help us to modify our power wheels. With drill batteries. So
absolutely. Well, hopefully I sound better. I bought a mic for the podcast.
Yeah, I think you do.
So
I think you do.
I got $30 in the mic. So hopefully I listened to some of the podcast a while back and I was like, wow, this sound quality is bad.
Yeah.
So I decided to see if this made a difference.
It's okay. The mic you're using matters. The room you're in matters. You want to be in a room that's relatively small space, so it's not echoey. And then you want like maybe there to be a carpet or padding. If you're really, your serious podcasters are going to have like soundproofing stuff around them, most likely, and
my
things that really help to prevent the echo, which diminishes the quality.
That I'm building will be soundproof just because because of my work. And so I think that'll help, and it'll be
probably help as much or more than the mic too. So
like an 8x8 area office. So it'll be a kind of a small office. So hopefully that will improve as time goes by. So right now it's still it's frames. I've got some electrical ran. I'd order some more electrical stuff to finish installing plugs and a light and stuff. So
well, maybe we can do a Patreon drive for some juiced up setups.
John, you have projects going left and right there, man.
I have a ton of projects and none of them are finished. So
all started though.
All almost started.
almost started.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We are going to start a segment next week. And what this will be is in between our updates. We might abbreviate the updates just to make sure we don't go too long on this. Make sure Drew gets to bed on time. But what we're going to do starting next week is, and we'll be on a rotation, we're going to take turns picking a topic. I almost said a random topic. It won't be a random topic. It'll be some topic for us to discuss that maybe wouldn't come up in our normal conversation, but that might be interesting for us to discuss. It won't necessarily be Star Wars related. There's a podcast group I listen to that's just started doing this, and they're just some of the funnest episodes to listen to. And I thought it would be fun to talk to you guys about random things as well. So whatever it is that you and I come up with to discuss. So, I could give examples of what this could be, but we're just going to go with it and see what happens here. What we'll do is on the podcast, we will announce to one another and to our listeners what the topic will be for the following week, so you'll know what to look forward to. There's not a topic for this week. I'm just kind of giving you the preview of what we're planning on doing. And I actually just powwowed with these guys about it right before we hit record for this, and they thought it sounded like a good idea. And Drew said, "Hey, I think I've already got a topic." So hopefully this is in line with what my vision is for the. I had something I was thinking I might do to kind of get us started. But Drew said, "Hey, I've got it. Let's go."
Dude, no. If you already have something,
No. I had a few things bouncing around, and I hadn't decided for sure. So I've stopped thinking about it since you said you had a subject. What are we going to be talking about next week, Drew?
This is going to be so fun to see if this is the direction you want it or not. So I want to hear from you guys. What shows are you currently watching or looking forward to watching? And the only caveat is, make it relevant to what's out now. So like, you haven't seen Parks and Rec or The Office, came out 10 years ago, doesn't count. Like, what's coming out now?
Okay.
Like, I mean, within that, within the least the year, not 5 plus years ago. So just somewhat recent. So
I have a couple. Man, I wish we could talk about it right now. I'm excited about this. This will be fun.
Yeah. I've got a few good recommendations, and I'm going to try and start them this week. So we'll see.
Very cool. And there's not really a set time for how long we'll discuss that. We'll just try not to go too long because we do want to make sure we have time to discuss, Star Wars, since that's what the podcast is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Okay. For our Star Wars discussion this week, what we're going to discuss is a junior novel that is the final sort of character prequel to the Rebel series. Obviously, the series has started, and I believe it was just after the series started, about the time when we're reading this novel, this book came out. Actually, this book may have come out before the series started. I forgot to look it up. But it was right there at the beginning, right? Before many episodes, or maybe before any episodes came out. They came out with this first book of a 4-book series that they released. The first one was in 2014, and then the next 3, I think, were in the following year in 2015. We'll discuss whether or not we intend to finish this. All right. But we did go ahead and read the first novel, which introduces a character to us that we have not met in the series yet. We don't know when or how he's going to come up, but this is a character named Zane. And Zane, isn't that right?
No.
Wait, what's his name?
Zare or Zare.
Zare? I thought it was Zane. Why have I been thinking Zane this whole time? No.
Are you thinking Final Fantasy IX?
Zane? Zare. No, that's Zane. I wouldn't get that wrong. It's Zare?
Zare.
Yeah.
Zare.
It's an R. Yeah.
Okay. All right. For some reason, I've been thinking Zane the whole time. But anyway, Zare. All right. So Zare is a young man on, I don't know, some planet. I forget what planet it is. Lawful. Is it Lawful? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's on Lawful. Now, is Lawful also where Ezra's from? Is that the same planet?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he's on Lawful. And he is looking forward to getting into, I'm going to spoil the whole plot here. So if you want to read the book, don't listen. But honestly, it's fine. Read the book. Just don't read the book. Just read you can get spoiled. So he's looking forward to going to the academy. But first, his sister's like 1 year ahead of him. And so she's going off to start to study to become an imperial officer for the empire, right? Under the service of the emperor. And he is really excited about going and kind of frustrated that he has to wait a whole nother year, right? In the meantime, though, he goes to some basically Star Wars version of high school where he is a star player on their Grav Ball team. Okay. This
Sabercats.
Grav Ball, is it Sabercats?
Go Sabercats.
I'm forgetting all this. Isn't Sabercats from High School Musical?
That's the Wildcats.
Wildcats. Okay. All right.
Is this like, was this whole book a musical? Was I supposed to be reading it as a musical?
It would have been
Now
so much
it makes
better.
so
if it
much more
was.
sense.
The plot's about as deep as a
So
musical.
much more
So-
sense.
Anyway, he's going to school. He's a star on this sports team. And I'm not going to go over every detail of the plot, but there are a couple things that were notable to me that I think are worth mentioning. There's a lot of hints that, like, over the course of this novel, he becomes very disillusioned to what the empire is all about. Right at the beginning, he's gung ho, all about it. His parents are, some sort of political figures, right? That are influential, and they're a well-to-do family on this planet where they've only lived for a few years, right? He hasn't been there his whole life. There are people from that planet that have grown up there and been there their whole lives, but his family is one that moves around to different planets, and they've been at this planet for a while. Anyway, he has a friend who, at the same time that his sister goes off to school as well, but they go off to school to become a stormtrooper. So his sister goes off and is going to become an officer, but then they have somebody who is, I guess it's similar to people that enlist just generally versus people that go and get degrees and go off to officer school in our military. The stormtrooper school changes this friend. And over the course of them, you don't see a lot of him, but when you do see him, he sort of loses his personality and identity, starts to see himself as a number, and becomes very robotic and cold in the interactions with him. And the sister, in their phone calls, they kind of blow it off as, oh, well, stormtrooper training is tough. And they really try to break you down and build you back up. And so that's just what he's going through. But it won't always be like that. I mean, we know better, right? Because we know where ultimately stormtroopers end up as these horrible Nazis in the galaxy, right? But he sort of sees his friend undergo this change. He also has got a friend who grew up on a farm that his parents sold a few years ago. And there's a few times in the book where they go out to that farm and see his parents sold out to the Empire. And initially it was that they were going to have droids run the farm and it was going to be more efficient. And the whole pitch was that this will be better for the planet as a whole, because we're going to use all the Empire's resources to create efficiencies that betters the life on Lothal. Ultimately, it becomes just a ploy by the Empire to milk the planet for resources. So they kind of toy around with the fruit production for a while, but then before too long, they just it's like they're intentionally inefficient so that they have an excuse to say, we're going to destroy this farm and turn it into a mine and mine Lothal for materials that we're going to use to build our warships, basically. And this really bothers this friend a whole lot. And you guys have to remind me, I was trying to remember, and I didn't have, it's been about a week since I read it. I read the whole thing in one night. It's been about a week. And I think, what it is, did his friend blow something up or something? I forget. What was it that he ended up getting arrested for? He ended up, at the end of the book, his friend got arrested. And I forget the reason why, but he did something to basically go against to stick it to the man. Do you guys remember what it was?
They were doing something on speeder bikes, I think, throwing charges at
blowing up the droids or the construction equipment or something.
Transports and
transports. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, they basically resist the Empire. Zare, luckily, doesn't get caught, but his friend does. His friend ends up getting arrested. The other plot, and really this is the main plot, I think, of the book that everything's sort of connected to, and that's that this Grav Ball team is really good. They're the best Grav Ball team in the network of, Star Wars lawful high schools, I guess. I don't know if it's different planets that play or what, I forget. But he's got a little team that he's the team captain for, and they end up basically winning the championship at the end of it. But leading up to that, they make it to the championship, and the week before they're supposed to go to the championship, one of the school administrators comes to him and he says, you can't play the aliens in the championship game. We've got to only have humans, right? He's basically a racist, or a speciesist, and says this has got to be a humans only victory. So you got to tell these guys they can't play. And Zaire instead decides he's going to resist that, and he constructs their semifinal game in such a way that those guys are the superstars of the game. Like every play is centered around them. They end up just totally taking the team to victory because of the way that Zaire approaches the situation. And it makes this administrator really mad. He gets onto Zaire as a result of it. The following week, they have been transferred, or before the next game, they get transferred to a different school. So they can't play. So he didn't have to have the conversation with them, but they don't get to play in the championship game that they had earned and were excited about playing. And 2 other replacement humans get basically added to the team to fill their place. Well, they find out about this bet that the administrator has made that their team will win by 8 points. And at first Zaire's like, I'm not playing. This isn't right. I'm not going to play. If they can't play, then we're not playing. But then somebody's like, hey, that works for you because you're kind of a rich kid from another planet. Some of these guys, this is the most important thing that's ever happened to them. And maybe the biggest thing that ever happens to them in their lives. Winning a championship could really set up their futures. And so to take that away from the rest of the team, it's what happened isn't right, but what you're doing isn't right either. So he ends up giving in, but there's a hacker friend that he has who finds out that the administrator has a secret bet going on this game that they're going to win by at least 8 points. And he's got a lot of money that their team will win by 8 points. So Zaire just makes sure they win, but they win by like 6 points instead of 8 points. And they take a knee at the end. And then this officer comes in and basically tries to mess up Zaire's future, right? By trying to prevent him from being accepted into the academy and mess up whatever chances he has at. But Zaire also becomes, at this point, he's been very disillusioned with the Empire. So, but around all this stuff that's happening, his sister suddenly disappears as well. Through their conversations, she started to have some issues with what's going on at the school, and she sees that there's some really bad stuff that's happening in the Empire, and that officers are expected to do. And then suddenly she's out of the picture; she disappears. And so instead of on principle saying, I'm not going to have anything to do with the Empire, Zaire says, no, I'm going to go to school because that's my best chance at figuring out what happened to my sister. And if I hear about a rebellion, I'm ready to jump in and join it and be a behind the scenes undercover, turncoat, I guess, double agent or whatever, and join a rebellion that I come across. So that's pretty much it. There was more to it than that, but those are the high points. So let's start with, I think it's pretty clear what John thinks about it. Let's hear from Drew. Drew, what did you think about this book?
Oh, it was a train wreck. It was an absolute train wreck.
Oh, train wreck?
Yeah, it's
whoa.
This was pure garbage. I enjoyed Dark Disciple. So I'm gonna list some books for our listeners here. We've read Dark Disciple. Great book. I'd read that again. A New Dawn. New Dawn was good. Not as good as Dark Disciple, but it was still good. Ezra's Gamble was tolerable. This was not tolerable.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I think John's going to agree with me. I don't know about you, Cliff, but whenever I got to the grab ball sections, I'm like, skim. All right, skim. All right.
Yeah.
Where's the actual story here? Like, I felt like High School Musical was actually a very good comparison.
Reference point.
Like 15 pages of grab ball plays, go do this, delta. It's like, I just don't care. Just don't care. The relationship between him and his sister was probably the high point for me, and how that might work out into the future with the other novels, sort of the mystery behind that, and
what happened to her, and interplay with his future.
And that was really that was probably the high point as far as connections and relationships go for me. Like between him and his parents, there wasn't a lot. Even him and his friends, I didn't see a whole lot of, strong connection, good dialogue, good and maybe that's because we're 30s, and we're not fifth grade. I mean, I don't know, but that's my general take. I'll talk more in a second after John has his moment.
Sure. Okay. Well, okay, John, give us your reaction here.
I loved it. No, just kidding. Hey, so remember the Rebel shorts we watched?
Yeah.
This should have been a Rebel short.
The whole thing, just one
whole thing,
2-minute short.
Should have been a 3-minute
short, whatever.
Right. Showing like a kid in a high school, and then just kind of playing out something happening to his sister and him being like, "I'm going to join so that I can mess them up from the inside."
Right.
I said, but honestly, if I had read this as a musical to begin with, it probably would have been a lot better.
Just thought of it as a musical. Imagine what songs might there be.
Yeah, to the tune of High School Musical stuff.
You got to get your head in the game.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine it now? Like,
no, with the Jogan fruit.
Yeah. I think there was too much of Gravball. Like, I think it would have been fine to mention Gravball and say, "Hey, here's how the game went." And too much of filler was Gravball, and it was almost like it was to me like a little kid that made up this game, and he's like telling you how all the plays goes, and you're like,
right,
yeah, okay, that's so cool. Like while you're focused on something else, right?
Yeah.
So, I will say one thing I liked was that it was unlawful. Okay. And this is a completely different side of society.
Okay.
As what Ezran was involved in, right? So that I kind of, it's these the rich elite thinking, okay, the empire's good, and then some of them coming to the realization that it's not, almost like Sound of Music when the Nazis come, and it's like, oh, like we were kind of supporting them in the beginning, and now we see how bad it was, right? Yeah. So that piece I liked, but it didn't require me to read as much as I did to get that point across.
It wasn't that much. This was like a 2.5 hour read.
This book took me 2.5 months.
Well, yes. Yeah. Right. But when did you start reading?
June.
It was tough. I will say I read the back third of it tonight.
Okay.
The last third of it, just because I was like, oh, right. we got to record, so I got to finish.
Sure.
So I read about
get it out of the way, get it done.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you seem to enjoy it more than we did?
I did, and I'm going to give you that update in a minute. But one of my kids is screaming, so y'all just talk amongst yourself for just a minute. I will be right back.
I mean, you know how much Cliff enjoyed it because he thought the main character's name was Zane. Maybe he read a different book than us. Maybe that's what we're going to find out.
When he said that at first, my initial gut instinct was, crap. I've been reading his name wrong this entire time. And then I looked down because I have it right in front of me here.
Yeah, I got it
the book. And I was like, no, that's definitely an R on the back. I did not misread that.
I bought the book, the hard copy, but then I got it on my Kindle app. I don't have a Kindle, but just so that because I could not stay interested in this book. It was an easily misplaced book. So
yeah. The fact that he said, well, we'll talk about if we want to do the other ones or not. I said, whew, good. Yeah. I haven't bought the other ones yet. And after reading the first one, it might kill me to spend any money on the next one.
Here's the thing: how much more Gravball could be in them, right? That's kind of over, isn't it? He got accepted to the university. Hopefully, we wouldn't see more Gravball, right? Maybe.
I mean, what do they replace it with?
That's true. That's true. It'll be like the NFL Gravball.
Darts.
So.
Hey, gravity darts would be kind of cool. Zero gravity darts.
maybe like from really far away.
Yeah, right.
Like a
And
mile.
you can do it almost like a shuffleboard. Have people that go along with it and just try to blow it in the right direction. Maybe you have to blow it around obstacles and stuff.
And if they give the detail in the next book like they did in Graph Ball, it'll be just as exhilarating.
Maybe more so. It kind of reminded me, all this grab ball stuff kind of reminded me of like the Quidditch stuff in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But the Quidditch stuff in Harry Potter is riveting. It's excellent and exciting. Now, I don't know if have you guys read the books?
I've never read Harry Potter.
John, have you read it? Any other?
No, just
okay.
Just years ago, the first one.
Well,
when you read it, but
I read it to you. That's right.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about that. How I scared Sarah, our sister, when I talked about the unicorn blood being drunk by the hooded figure. And she walked in the room. Little girl.
Part of the problem for me, I also had a hard time picturing Graph Ball, even though they were giving details, like really understanding what's going on there.
I cared so little that I didn't try to picture it.
Right.
Me
just
too.
sort of accepted it.
Yeah.
Well,
now that said, I think I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the novel. I didn't love it. It's not something I would like ever want to read or ever recommend anybody reading, but I wasn't like miserable while I read it. And I thought it was fine. I think that
maybe they'll make a Disney Plus series out of Grab Ball.
No, I hope not.
Oh,
I don't think Grab Ball is well thought about well enough. So the thing it was kind of like, it felt like football. It sounded like football. They called it Grab Ball. John, you have on your background right now a comic like slide, I guess, from some Star Wars media of some sort.
It's from Wikipedia.
From Wikipedia, okay, of people playing Graph Ball, and they're like floating around. I didn't even know that it was zero gravity.
So I'm not certain it is the way they played it in the book, but in the first few pages, they mentioned some people using gravity boots, anti-gravity boots.
So that's just not their version of it.
And he was like,
can play it with anti-gravity.
Yeah, that was almost like we don't play with those. We play hardcore.
Oh, okay. It was basically like, we're going to play football, but you have to shoot it into a basketball hoop that has a goalie in front of it. Like, oh, okay.
Right.
So whereas Quidditch is like, no, we're going to come up with this game that makes sense to play on brooms, right? Flying around, which you can't do in real life. So it was a very unique thing. It has some similarities to other sports, mostly soccer for Quidditch. But then there's some really weird, like random elements that frankly are kind of crummy in Quidditch. Like you play back and forth and you try to score a point here, a point here, a point there. But then there's this little tiny ball flying around, and whoever catches that gets like 70 points at once and the game ends. Yeah. So it's basically like, if you catch it, you win. Mm-hmm. And the rest of it's kind of just for no good reason. They justify it sort of in the books, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it at least is totally unique, right?
Right.
And they set some scenarios up that are pretty interesting. You've got rivalries that are going on that make it entertaining, and they tie it all in together and make it a cool part of the world. Whereas this just felt like somebody was like, I'm going to just think of all the sports and do mostly football, but throw in elements of a bunch of other things, and we'll call it a day.
With no gravity or lessened gravity, maybe. So
maybe, yeah, right. It was the sport was stupid, and so much of the book centered around the sport, which was disappointing. I did like the Stormtrooper, what we kind of learned about Stormtrooper training, and kind of seeing the Empire military from the perspective of somebody on a random planet who might want to go and enlist in the military, right? Having been fed all these lies about how they're basically going around the galaxy, making it a better place everywhere, when in reality they're just Nazis, right?
Yep.
One thing I really didn't like was the racism. Mostly in Star Wars, the only type of racism that you see is against droids.
Correct.
I mean, it's there, but it's not like all the aliens and humans are pretty much okay with each other. Right? Everybody just kind of respects each other as, equals. Whereas with with the, I just didn't like it. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, maybe that's been there all along, because one thing that is true about the Empire is it's pretty much all humans, right? Like they don't really allow aliens in there's no alien stormtroopers, right? I mean, they'll hire alien bounty hunters, but you go on the Death Star and you're not running into aliens. It's just humans. So maybe there is some of that that's actually there, but the only really racism that you ever see is droid racism.
Yeah.
Most of Star Wars anyway. And I couldn't think of any other examples of just blatant racist, anti-alien sort of stuff in the series. There may be some, but I couldn't think of it. Of course, the droid racism gets taken way too far in a movie like Solo, right?
Correct.
That's the stupidest part of that movie. But I love the rest of the movie. But that part is really dumb.
The droid liberation.
Yeah, the droid rebellion against the mines or whatever, with droid rights things is really, really stupid.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what to think about droids. Star Trek kind of handles it. They're like, no, Data is sentient, right? And they have a whole episode centered around like Data's sentience. Droids, it's still really ambiguous. It's like, we've got feelings for C-3PO and R2-D2, but are they just robots, or do they like, what is a droid? Star Wars is never super clear about like, no, we need to respect these as sentient beings, or they're just robots. It's this sort of this weird ambiguity, unknown factor that Solo confuses, frankly. Not in a good way.
Well, sure. I mean, if the Separatists treated the droids that way, but the Republic treated clones the exact same way.
Well, you're right. You're right. Yeah, there was that parallel as well. But I don't know. I don't really know what to think. And I don't know that Star Wars has ever really had a clear vision of what droids are as far as sentience is concerned. And the attempts that have been made to explore that it's like, maybe it's better to just leave it unaddressed. That's what I think they should have done. It's just left it unaddressed. I like that alien human racism isn't a big issue. I think that's an obvious one that's a little bit overdone in sci-fi, right?
Yeah, right.
And so why do that in Star Wars? I don't mind them doing it against droids, because it's almost kind of funny. We don't serve their kind here. It's like, oh, okay. It's silly, because what do you mean you don't serve their kind here? Are they going to drink? Like droids don't drink. We don't have any oil. Like, what are you talking about? So it doesn't really even make sense. It's just sort of like a goofy element that I prefer to just stay an unaddressed goofy element. So I didn't like that. And then that whole subplot of this guy's racist against the aliens, although it sort of does tie in to what the Imperial military is. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not really sure what to think about it. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I more just took it that Lothal is, isn't it more close? It's not like one of the core worlds. It's one of the outer rim worlds, right? I think that's mentioned.
I believe so. Yeah, pretty sure.
So I just sort of took it as like, because they made the comparison once or twice in the book of, oh, well, we're not like the core worlds, out here we do it this way. And so,
okay.
I just sort of more took it like that mindset kind of. So
sure.
But
John, any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, similar thoughts to what you had. And, I have thought about, okay, why isn't there racism in Star Wars, right? Against alienism. And I think part of it is, these different alien races have different abilities in a lot of cases that, the Kaminoans are like great cloners.
Sure.
And so there's things that set them apart. It's almost like in sci-fi, humans are always like really the lowest form.
Sure.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
But there's just so many of them because there's so many actual people to play these humans. It's easier. But yeah, other than that, I guess they're, they kind of enslaved all the Wookiees, right? At one point.
That's true. But that was more, I think that was less a racial issue.
More of a
and more of just we're horrible people that enslave people issue because they enslave humans too, right?
And
then because they were Wookiees necessarily.
The genocide that was mentioned against.
Oh yeah, that's true. Wait, is that Zane? No, Zeb. That's Zeb.
Zeb. Yeah.
Zeb.
Against Zeb.
Oh, I thought it was Zane. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Again, I don't know if that was racism. That seemed to me more because they resisted imperial occupation, and so they paid the price. So,
yeah, I don't know.
Speciesism.
I have, no, I guess I agree with you on that, Cliff. Though.
Yeah, that kind of topic seems more Star Trek appropriate.
It does.
Like let's let Star Trek do a sci-fi take on all these issues that actually face the real world, and let's let Star Wars just be a show about Nazis and killing Nazis. Right? I'll just like that better.
Oh yeah, Star Trek is very much the one that explores stuff like that more.
I mean, Nazis were pretty terrible racists, but
they were. But then you think of Clone Wars and the issues they explore. Are oftentimes,
and I didn't mind it in Clone Wars. I liked that,
but it's
just more kid friendly in Star Wars. So
Clone Wars it didn't seem like they were real issues, right? They were just made up issues because it's like we have clone armies to deal with.
No, but the expendability of groups of people, fighters, stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess
military.
What did you just say, Drew, about you just said something. I talked over you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I mean, it just seems like in general, comparing, in full disclosure, I've only seen Next Generation, Star Trek, Next Generation. That's the only context I have for Star Trek. But I mean, Star Wars seems more young viewer friendly than Star Trek does. And so maybe it just lends itself more naturally to those more adult types of deeper conversations of, societal issues. So
probably.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Well, anything else y'all want to point out from the novel here? The next time we see Zare, he's going to be meeting up with our ghost crew somehow. I assume in the next few episodes that we watch, although I looked it up at one point, but I don't remember when he comes into play.
One thing that I don't know if I just missed it or y'all got it, or maybe they're just exploring it later. The whole thing at the end, and John, this will probably especially be something you might remember since you finished it more recently with his acceptance and how he was like the first one that was accepted when Mirai was looking on the computers. He was the first one accepted before anyone else. But then he deferred. Then he, came back and said, yeah, I want to come back at the very end. And he was like quickly reaccepted as well. And they were like, oh, that doesn't happen for most people. Are we thinking was the implication there that it doesn't happen for most people because they actually really want him? They think he's that valuable as an individual, or does this somehow tie into his sister?
I don't think we know for sure. I did think that. Okay, is somebody pulling the strings here?
Right.
I think right now they want us to think he is that wanted by the Empire, right?
Okay. He's that just has credentials. Yeah.
Right. And because he was the first one, like everybody else was still pending, and he was in, like he had it, right?
That's right. Why was that?
That's why they kind of convinced him, like, hey, put back in for it because you're gonna get it. You were the first draft pick here for the Empire. They're gonna want you if you say you want back in.
Okay, so you don't think there's anything like?
I think there could be.
Okay,
I don't necessarily think they want us thinking that direction yet, but but I think there could be.
Because maybe it's related to his sister or something.
Yeah, because when the commander came and broke the news, or commandant, whatever his title was, to the family about the sister being missing, it said in there something at least twice. It noted that he looked at Zare, or he stared at Zare thoughtfully, or it just made a point of not noting that, and so that just sort of further brought up the intrigue, at least in my mind. But I might be looking too much into it. So,
well,
that's a good point.
It seems like something's there, just something that it worked out that way, especially after he had just been given all this bad feedback about his helmet being dirty, and y'all remember what I'm talking about there?
Yeah.
And then it was like they overlooked all that and still gave him that preferential.
I thought it might be because of who his parents were in part as well.
And that could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
He's just sort of a known figure.
Yeah.
Like he's contextually, they know who his family is. So it's kind of like, oh, well, we're going to let him in because look who's mom and dad are. And
yeah,
it's Dara's brother. And we don't know what happened to Dara, but he's sort of known. Like I was known when I went to college because Rose paved the way. And all of her professors that she had when I would take their classes, they would like me already by the time I got to their class because they loved Rose. Rose is just one of their favorites. And
yeah.
Then I had to go through and just one by one let them all down. I did too.
It worked out for me as well.
It worked out for you?
Yeah. Yeah. People are like, oh, you're Rose's
Robbie
brother.
Rose's brother.
More so in high school.
Oh, really?
What was our...
my teachers liked me in high school. My teachers didn't like me in college as much. They loved me in high school.
Our teacher, the math teacher.
Miss Davis.
Oh, yeah. Like, I absolutely
I love her.
hated that. I hated that class. Hated sitting through
really?
it. But I don't think it was possible for me to get below, like, a 90 just because I was Cliff's brother.
Oh, she still to this day she keeps up with what's going on with me, and man, I really love that woman. She had a big impact on me. Good teacher. Yeah. That's something we should talk about. That'll be a good subject maybe to bring up at some point. Teachers that influenced us.
I think I was the letdown in that scene. So.
All right. If you want to email us, send an email to starwarsbrotherspodcast@gmail.com. I always forget to check that before we record, so I will just pop on really quick. And
while you're doing that, I'll do it and tell our listeners for next week. We are going to be watching Rebels Season 1, episodes 5 through 8.
Perfect.
I'm ready for that.
I think there's 15 this season, so one of the weeks we'll only watch 3. Isn't that right? And there are 15 episodes total.
Yeah, the last one, 13 and 13, 14, 15. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think we have any emails. Oh, wait. Advertisement.
You want to read
Advertisement. No. Advertisement. Man, Andy keeps sending me all kind of advertisements here.
Some spam. Go ahead and read the spam and respond.
Is your cholesterol high even with
they trick you, they really trick you, it's this guy's message starts out, "Hi, did you get my last email?" And then it sounds like it's really personal, but it's not.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Unless we have listeners really concerned about our core warranties. And
I had a client the other day that was telling me about how she renewed her car warranty, and I just thought, oh no, don't. How do I even address this? I just left it alone.
Yeah,
okay. It wasn't that big of an expense, but what am I going to do? Tell her she doesn't need a car warranty? It's probably legitimate. I doubt it's a scam. It's just you don't need a car. You don't need to extend your car warranty ever. Don't do it. All right. Great. Well, send us an email if you want to be read on the show and be a part of what we're talking about here. And hey, share for the next week. I'll try to post this soon. For next week, send us an email about the TV shows that you're currently watching that you'd like to recommend to others, and we'll pull those emails up in that section. Unless I forget to check my email. I won't. I'll remember. Send us an email. All right. Thanks for listening. Cool. That's fun. What do you guys think? I think the segment's going to be fun.
I think so.
Yeah. It says you're still recording. I don't care. I just
I am. That's
okay.
fine.
That's fine.
I'll just stop it when I end it. We had a pause just a second ago, so I'll be able to find it pretty easy. No big deal.
So are we going to finish the
Oh yeah, I meant to address that.
This
It's up to you guys. We won't get to the next one it'll be a few weeks before we actually get to the next one. What I don't want to do is take 3 months to read another one.
I agree.
Because I want us to watch Rebels.
Yeah.
I'm ready to watch some Rebels.
So we can just skip the next 3, and then maybe when we're done with the series, we can consider going back. I think that's what most people do anyway. You know,
probably.
We'll at least have context for who he is now after the first one.
Yeah, we got the introduction.
Rebels could make us really love Gravball, and we're going to want to go back and read.
Well, there's no more Gravball. Gravball's it. Gravball's just the first novel. The rest of the novels aren't about Gravball.
You're sure? You're sure there's not like a professional league?
I'm like 98% sure that there's no more Gravball.
He's not in college ball now.
I'm 98% sure this is the only novel with Gravball in it. Everything else is going to be. Actually, the other novels won't even be about his academy time. I'm pretty sure this sets up his introduction to the series. And then every other novel is going to be like some side story with him and the Ghost Crew doing something. So it might actually be a lot more interesting in the future. So I'll try to pay attention to where the next one falls. And then maybe if we're just super interested at the time, we can dive in. But it might be better to just go through Rebels at this point and let the novels wait until we're done. If we do them at all. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
That. Okay. I'm ready for Rebels.
I'm ready to watch. I really enjoyed that first set. So we need to just dive in and get it done. So
have y'all watched Bad Batch season 2 at all?
No, but don't wait. If you want to watch it, go ahead and watch it. I think
I still haven't even watched Andor.
I have.
You need to watch Andor. Oh, you don't watch Bad Batch season 2 yet? Then watch Andor. If you guys do decide you're going to watch Bad Batch season 2, let us know. Let the other 2 of us know. And maybe we'll just do like a week where we say, all right, we're going to, in between season 1 and 2 of Rebels, we'll do Bad Batch or something. You know, we can just all watch the series. And I don't know how long it is. Is it 8 episodes or what?
I think it's 8.
8, probably 8 to 12.
But they're not all out yet. You know, they're not. I don't think so.
And we'll wait till it's out before we discuss it. So watch it if you want to. No reason to wait on it. Have you guys watched Tales of the Jedi at all?
I have not.
Okay. All right. Well, we can wait and do that together if you want. What I've heard is that there's really no spoilers for Rebels because it's all like old stuff.
Yeah.
It's like pre-episode 1 even stuff, or at least pre-Clone Wars stuff for the most part. So it's like backgrounds to characters that we already know about. So
gotcha.
And I've heard it's pretty good. I've heard good things about it. But there's some Ahsoka content in there, but it's going to be like little girl Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So nothing that's going to spoil anything in Rebels. At least nothing major. So if y'all want to do that, just we can do it together. Or we can just do it on our own. But if nobody's watched it by the time we get done with Rebels, then we'll probably do it next. But if y'all want to go and watch it, no big deal. I don't want this podcast to keep us from just enjoying new Star Wars content that comes out, right? This is more just about us being able to go back together and enjoy past stuff, not miss out on the zeitgeist of whatever's current. So,
yeah. I really do want to see Andor because I know you really seem to
highly recommend Andor. It's slow. Get ready for it to be slow. It's very slow, but it's really good. It's really good. Hey, it's going to take you a few episodes to get invested. And then once you do, you're going to be like, this is awesome. This is really cool. So
is Avatar 2 out?
Yeah. I saw that.
I've seen it. Is it appropriate for William?
I think so.
One of his friends wants him to go see it with him. So I was just, okay.
But I don't know. I didn't watch it with that in mind. Yeah. I mean, we saw it with some Sojourners.
Oh, then it's fine.
You know who the Sojourners are?
Yeah. They're like nuns of the church.
Close.
Just kidding.
I don't think there's there's no like sexual scenes or anything like that I can recall.
Well, remember the blue people don't even have regular sex.
But
they just kind of like emote together or something, don't they?
Something weird.
Or they connect their sticky cords or whatever.
That's right.
And go on some kind of a mental weird journey that impregnates.
It's been a while since I've seen the first one. I think you're right. Yeah.
I don't even know that they have reproductive organs. Yeah, it's something like that. Like they plug into each other.
I mean, John,
there's not in that way.
There's guns, knives, explosions, chasing.
Yeah, that's all right.
So I mean,
he watched Aquaman with us. So
Yeah, he's all about that.
I don't
stuff.
think there's anything that would bother you.
Okay, I'm not going to go see it with him. So
I don't remember. There may be a little language, but nothing that's.
I think there was
It's not
a
like
little.
it's not like there's F-bombs being dropped everywhere or anything. It's nothing that like was notable to me. Nothing that bothered any of the sojourners. Okay. So
awesome.
at least not that they said.
Yeah. Like,
Did you see it in 3D?
No.
I wanted to really bad because it's 3D high frame rate. And that's like the whole point. The guy who made it is like, I love 3D. I want to make a 3D movie. Like that's the reason to see it, is to see good 3D, because we're not really doing 3D much anymore. And that's sort of like creator's intent. But I didn't care that much about the movie. You know who cares about the movie is Shauna's dad. He really wanted to go see it. And he put it together and invited some of the sojourners and, did this whole thing. And I pushed for the 3D a little bit because I was like, let's just go. It's like an extra, hour and a half, I know, of driving, but it'll be worth it. And I made my pitch. And then I was like, but if you don't want to, that's because ultimately it was more for him than it was for me. It's not on my care. If it was Star Wars, then if James Cameron did a 3D Star Wars and was like, yeah, I'm doing it at a high frame rate, and I really think 3D is the best way, then I would see it in 3D. And I'd be like, sorry, you guys are going to have to see it without me if you're not going to go see it in 3D. Mm-hmm. But I didn't, you got to pick the hills to die on. And that wasn't one. So
he cracked me up when I saw an interview with him, and someone asked him, they said, well, this is a pretty long movie. Like your first one, 3.5 hours. He's like, yeah. And they're like, well, is there an intermission, anything like that? And he said, no. Like they said, what about the people that are going to have to go to the bathroom in the middle of it? And the perfect director, the perfect movie man, he said, well, they can always come back and see it again and get another ticket. Like, that's true, I guess. So
there you go. Yeah, you get the part you missed.
Yeah,
I heard they've got plans for like number 7 or something.
I think 5. I think they've got 5 planned out.
Crazy.
You know what? It's doing good. I believe it's doing pretty good in the box office. And to be honest, high 8s. It was a good movie. It was fun. It was really fun watch. You saw it, didn't you, Drew?
Yeah, I saw it the weekend it came out. 3D.
Better than the first one?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Speak of alien racism. Okay.
Better than the first one.
Okay.
It's about the same though.
the plot is basically the same. I mean, you mix around a few parts, but the plot, humans bad, it's the plot's not changed really, but
it's high budget. It's like the highest budget cartoon that you'll ever see.
Oh yeah.
So, it's good. It is funny that it's actually just a cartoon, but nobody treats it like a cartoon. It's like Mary Poppins, every now and then there's a human in there, but it's all just cartoons around them. So, and nobody thinks about it as a cartoon, but like it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Very silly, but very beautiful. Cool worlds, cool, nonsensical, silly stuff, like we're going to plug our tails into these dragons and now we can control them. It's a lot of that kind of stuff still,
Yeah.
But at least it's unique. It's unlike anything else you really see except for Ferngully and Pocahontas, I guess. But,
right.
Still, the world itself is the reason to see it. So
maybe the next one, there'll be like a red people that the blue people don't like. Ooh. And it'll be that side of the racism.
Yeah, true.
So
true. It's a movie that I really enjoyed. And then it's a movie that I will never watch again. I will not even probably watch a recap before I see the third movie because I just don't care enough. Yeah. But I really enjoyed the experience of actually watching it. And I actually did wish that I'd watched like a 5-minute recap before I went into it. Because I was kind of confused about a few things. But I mean, it's not complicated enough to where it matters.
Yeah.
But there are a couple things like, what is this guy? I feel like I should know something that's happening here that I don't understand. But again, it's just I've got enough fantasy universes that I'm invested in to not care about Avatar.
Right.
Anyway,
the biggest and worst difference between Pocahontas, Ferngully, and Avatar is there's no singing in Avatar.
Mm.
Mm.
And it's kind of got some Matrix mixed in there too, right? Because they lay in these vats and they plug into their avatars. This one was more like I think they were all clones in this one, right? I don't think there was anybody like plugging into the Matrix in this one. It was just everybody was a clone.
And then the chase scenes, they went in slow motion with the boats and the explosions, like.
Yeah, but it was so cool. The visuals and the effects, and it's just like they took way too long to make this movie.
Yeah,
and it's just the highest budget CG you're ever going to see. You know, maybe not ever, but you're going to see for a long time. I mean, it's just up there with the best of the best effects. So it's worth seeing for that. And the plot is fine. Shauna was a little bit traumatized by it because there's a lot of like pregnancy stuff.
Oh yeah,
and like, you know, parents and children and dealing with like your kids being hurt and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of that in there. But that tugged on her heartstrings. I mean, I didn't really care. Just a bunch of blue fake people to me. But there's a lot of stuff they try to do with that.
Yeah,
type of thing.
About like the Ewoks getting killed, right?
Well, they certainly tried to bother you more about it than any attempt has ever been made with Ewoks. So. Anyway, we got to let Drew go to bed. It's almost 11.
Yeah.
Is this okay, Drew? We started recording a little late. So.
This is great. Finishing at 11 is like perfect. So.
Oh, it is? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool.
Talk to you guys later.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.